Your home is a gold mine for your manifestations to become the person that you really want to be and for you to enjoy your life to the fullest. We like to have things in order. We like to have things look nice for us. We like to feel comfortable in our own homes. That is a human thing. It's also a human thing to toss things around, not making the dishes, taking 3 more extra days before we clean, but it really needed to be clean like a week ago. We do these things. But is that actually how we do want to and desire to take care of our homes? Because our home is truly a representation of our inner self. So when we beautify our home, we do also learn how to really romanticize our lives, and we learn how to really birth through this kind of manifestation power that we have from within. When we take care of our home and make that reflect a certain type of identity, we do also become more and more that type of embodiment that we really feel is resonant with us. So today we're going to talk about beautifying your home. This is a part of the mini-series called Romanticizing Your Life this summer. Every single time I made a kind of bigger upgrade in my life, like a bigger shift, I've actually done a bigger shift in my home. And this usually goes in the terms of decluttering. So this is something that I maybe haven't talked about so much, but during my, so to say, dark night of the soul, my spiritual awakening, so to say, after a couple of months, maybe 2 months after or something, I had like the biggest decluttering season ever. This was a decluttering season where I went through like all my notes, all my journals, everything that I've been writing, like lists that I kept. I looked for patterns, I looked for thought loops, I looked for categories in my life, I looked for everything. And this was an ongoing process, maybe for 2 weeks or something. Every single day I had so many lists, I have so many journals, I have so many papers, but I went it through all. I went it through, I rewrote things. I really looked into like, where am I at? Where have I been? And what do I not want to recreate and continue doing? So that phase of my life was really a decluttering phase, and that was kind of the catapults in many ways for me really changing my mindset and changing the patterns in my life. So fast forwarding, this is something that I've done in different ways, and every time I feel that kind of inner urge to make a change in my home in one way or another, I know that an upgrade is on its way. Because it's almost as, my inner being is like, I need to align, and this home need to be aligned to the person that I'm becoming. So how does this story help you and apply to your world? We can actually, and we should actually, if we want to become a new ideal self, if we want to become, step more into our own power or stepping into our truest embodiments and what we resonate with the most, we have to make sure that our environment is actually reflecting that. So every single day are intentional and pay attention to and are surrounded by, energies, frequencies that actually are supporting our growth and actually supporting our shift. And where do we spend the most time? Yeah, exactly. Home. Your home. There is where you spend the most time. If you're not a digital nomad, but then you have certain type of ways that actually you also call that your home, for instance, right? So we all, in one way or another, we have a home. Take a look at your own home now and make sure that you're actually treating it with the same respect and the same gratitude that you want to treat yourself. Because you tossing things around might actually show that you don't really care about having a certain type of structure, and that can be okay. Maybe that is not a priority of yours, but if that is actually a priority of yours, if it is actually that you want to have more clarity in your life right now, if you want more space in your life right now or something, then tossing things around and not having space and not being able to walk on your floor because your clothes are everywhere or whatever, right? That is not a representation. That is not you showing that you're actively calling in space, or you're actively calling in structure or awareness, clarity, right? So you can really have a look quick in your home right now and look back maybe 2 weeks. Like, how has my home been? How is it that my home feels like? And how is that a representation of my internal being? And how is that a representation of what it is I'm moving forward to? And if you see that this is not aligned with actually the person that I am becoming and the person that I truly want to become, then things have to go. And it can literally be that you need to declutter things. It can literally be that you have to get rid of things because there are certain objects that have certain frequencies, energies that you do not align with any longer. That when you see that, you just have that memory over and over. Or when you see that object, you just feel in a certain type of way that is a vibration that, it doesn't serve you. That object should go, or at least put it down in the basement or something, to just see that, get the energy out a little bit, and maybe a little bit later you can have a reinvention. Do you want to keep this object still? Do you want to recharge it? What is it that you want to do? Because that is also a thing. When I went through my biggest decluttering, I was like, I can't throw all the things. It's so unnecessary. I don't like to, I like to be, grateful for the things that I have and not tossing them around, not throwing them away, so to say. So I also have this kind of reflection of what can I recharge in a certain type of way? What can I use in another way so they have different energies? And what is it that just like, well, I'm so grateful, you have served me well, but now we have to go separate paths, right? It is like the same in everything, like in relationships and everything, but you have a certain relationship with your objects. You have a certain relationship with your home. That's for sure. It's just that we need to open up our eyes to look into it. Next thing I want you to do when you really have a look at that kind of reflection into your current situation right now, like, is it reflecting what it is that I am becoming, the ideal self of me? When you notice that there are some certain type of changes that is needed, then look into prioritize that, and also look into how can you invite more of those energies that are more aligned with that ideal self. So let's say your ideal self take action on their creativity much more than you do today. Then maybe you need to rearrange something so that you have those things that make you feel very creative in front of you, or where it's seen, or where it's easily accessible. It might be that you want to implement a certain type of system in your notes, in your phone notes, for instance, where you have a much more ease in finding, the ideas that you've been writing down. Or you should maybe begin with writing down all your ideas and then make them into a prioritization list, right? So here we have to look into like our computer, our phone, all of that is also in our home, right? And sometimes it's not a restructure or a decluttering or a new way of doing things, putting things into systems that is needed in the computer or in the phone. That is actually that change and shift that we need to beautify our homes, to really have our home be a representation for our ideal self. It might also be that you maybe want to invite more abundance. Maybe you want to feel into like, what is abundance then? Is there something that I want to invite into my life that is really like reminding me every single day of that life is abundant? I have a practice where I drink a cup of matcha every day. And when I drink that matcha, during that time, I really sit with that cup of matcha. I sink in the full moment of it. I send gratitudes to what I have in my cup. I send gratitudes to the cup I'm holding, the birds I see when I look outside of the window. I'm really, really in that zone. And that is a practice for me to every single day really open up to abundance and feeling that life is abundant in the way that we can really, really have a joyful, fulfilling, and rich life. And so you can have those kind of practices things. So I have a very certain cup for it, and I have a very certain way which I do this matcha. Like I do it as a ritual, and I make sure when I go and sit on the couch or whatever I go and sit, it feels abundant. It's not messy, it's not everywhere, it feels abundant to sit and take in my cup. Or I go to the balcony, even though it's just a very quick 5 minutes, I go out and sit on the balcony because the air makes me feel abundant, right? So then I have to make sure that my balcony does feel abundant and clean, maybe, or it feels vibey, or it feels, you get my ideas here, right? So we always have to look into like, where in my life can I invite what it is that I want to become even more of? Is it a way that I pay attention to and put all my, spices in a certain type of way, right? How can I rearrange my home so it's a representation of the person that I am becoming? I think you get my point at this point. But I really wanted to, really talk about this because it's a true power, and home magic is really a thing. It's really a thing for like manifest things. Like lately, I felt such an urge to create more space in my life, bigger than ever, because I know that I'm about to receive bigger than ever. Everything is not clear what it is, but I just have that inner knowing. So for a couple of weeks ago, I cleaned my closet, and my closet has never been as empty as it is now. It is so empty. It is so spacious. So I rearranged all my crystals. I rearranged different things I have that just felt that was, crowded in certain ways, like something was crowded. So small little places around in my home, I'll make sure that got more space. My objects in itself got more space. They were not crowding together, right? And this is something that makes me show that, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to invite this new. I'm ready to become this and call in even bigger than ever before, right? So this is the third thing and the last thing. When you have kind of the arrangement that you will, or it goes a hand in hand, so to say, but I think it's very good to, when we are beautifying our homes and when we really want our homes to be a representation of our own inner self and where we want to go, so to say, it's important to have a certain type of theme for that moment, to be intentional. So for, as I told you, for the years back, my theme was really decluttering. I was like, I need to declutter. And today, or like a couple of weeks ago, when I did this change in my closet and around in my space, that was to have space. That was my theme. So I made sure that space was reflected and seen everywhere in my life. So always have a theme as well. So those are the three things that I would do to beautify my home, to make that a space, a loving space, a space that I want to be in, and a space that truly reflects on where I'm going, where I really, really, really want to tap into, and what it is that I am becoming. Hope this was helpful. If you're interested and haven't checked out the other series yet, go and check the description, which I will add the other videos that belong to this mini-series, Romanticizing Your Everyday Life this summer. And of course, if you want to enjoy more of your life, if you want even more so deepening into your inner richness, you're always welcome to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my podcast if you're listening on Spotify, and join me in this movement of really tuning in spiritually with self and living an abundant, rich, enjoyable life. Talk to you next time. Keep on listening to your Within Talks. Bye.